You want to see what we're doing?
Can I hit it?
No. There's more to it than just hitting it.
Feet wet? No, I turned the tarp over. I'm smarter than that. I wasn't getting the wet edge.
Hey guys, welcome back to Lowry's Garage. We're back on the D150 today. I'm going to talk about your drip edge on your truck. If you got one of these, you know, this is an 84, it's a 40-year-old truck now. And if you have one of these with a drip rail, whether it be a D150 like this or a C10 or a 79 Ford, if it has a drip rail and it's not been redone, the seam sealer in that drip rail is leaking. It will. And at some point, you'll end up with the headliner rusted out. I was watching Old Man's Garage. They just picked up a C10 they're going to do a giveaway on. And the first thing I seen when they showed the inside of the truck was some spot rust. Some spots on the inside of the cab that were rusting. And that's from the seam sealer in that truck's been leaking for years. The only way you can fix it, hopefully it's not rusted out, which luckily my truck isn't. Because if it's rusted out, it's a major ordeal. And if the inside of it rusts out, especially on these Dodges, nobody makes this the inside panel. You know, so basically you're looking at replacing your cab or finding a roof in the junkyard and cutting the roof off and swapping it. Neither one are a fun option. So what I did was I ground out the seam sealer all the way around, and then I spray it with rust inhibitor. This just happens to be Rust-Oleum rust inhibitor, and I'm not done yet. I gotta go all the way across here and finish wire brushing it all out. Spray it with inhibitor, and then seam seal it. In these trucks, there's a seam right here that has to be done. And they get pitting here. They rust through if you're unlucky. But they get pitting here, and you'll have to do the same thing here. You have to grind it out and seam seal it, because if you don't, when you go down the road, water will get through there. I'll show you here on my truck that it has surface rust, and there's a little pitting, but it's nothing that, you know, I can't grind out and fix. So I got to finish doing these rails. I've done both the sides, got them cleaned up and seam seal them. Down here there's a spot that the seam sealer, when you pull the windshield out, it'll get gone. You always need to re-seam seal it. This thing I got to sand these all out before I paint it. Now the other thing I want to talk about is door adjustments. If you've been around these D150s, let's face it, Dodge wasn't the best in the 80s about making door gaps perfect. They weren't trying to. They were just trying to survive in the early 80s. They were trying to stay out of bankruptcy. So I got this door adjusted, and it has a pretty good gap there, but as you come up, you'll see the gap gets wider and wider all the way around the corner here, and that gets real nice and tight again. And I've got the gap looking pretty good down the A-pillar. It's important to get these gaps good. It's important to get these gaps good. It sets the base for how you adjust your front fenders and your hood. You get them done good and right, it'll make a difference in how the truck looks. I'm not building a show truck. Now I'm going to show you a few of the things I will do. Once my door's adjusted perfectly, I will, because I'm taking them off to do body work on them, I will take an 1/8 inch drill bit and I'll drill right through this hinge into the cab, on the top hinge and on the bottom hinge. And that is so when I take the door off to paint the jambs on the truck, I can just take an 1/8 inch bit, stick through there, and as soon as I get them those two holes lined up, tighten them down, and the doors are back in adjustment. It's just a fast way of doing it. Now the problems that you can run into are like with this truck door. this door on this side. You see the gaps? They're twice as wide as the other side, and they aren't good all the way around. And now, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but this is part of what I'm talking about Dodge. They, right here, this went from rounded to a flat area through here to here. And it's just the way they were. I'm not going to fix it. And you see that gap is twice as wide as the other side of the truck. Now the problem is, I'm out of adjustment. The bottom hinge is nice and tight. All my hinges are nice and tight, but it's out of adjustment. It's back as far as it can go, and it will not adjust backward on that hinge anymore. I got plenty of adjustment on the top one, but the bottom one won't adjust. Now that leaves me with two options. I can pull the door off and grind the slots just a little bit longer in the front, one bolt in the hinge and 2 bolts in the body, so I can gain that extra I need to get that door adjusted right. Or I have to put a shim on the front of the door. I will probably take the hinge off and do a little grinding with a die grinder. But that's where I'm running into problems, is I can't get my gaps where I want them, because honestly, Dodge just mass produced them. That's how it works. All right, now the other thing I'm going to talk to you guys about, as you know, I lighten this truck up extremely because we're going to race it. And one of the heavy parts of the truck is the hood hinges. And the original hinges, you know, bolt to the inside of the fender. And a lot of the support comes from the fender, and the inner fender gives the hinge support so it doesn't flex. If you take the inner fender out, you get a lot of flex in them. So what I did, because I wanted to cut weight, I wanted to loosen big hinges, the springs, all that, and cut out the inside of the fender, which, well, here. I cut the inside of this fender to save weight. What I did was, if you ever paid attention to a Ford Ranger or Chevy S10, the hinges that are on them are mounted to the cow panel. What I did was took the original hinges, cut them up, welded up. There's a hole here in the body from the factory. Welded up this hole. I cut the hinges up, used the hinge point, one of the hinge points, welded it to the plate that I put here, and welded up a hinge that would work, and then cut a slot in my balance that goes here, the panel that goes here. Now a second, I'll grab it real quick. Alright, I cut a slot in the valance here, and I've had the hood on it. It works just fine, but instead of that big bulky hinge down here, it's allowed me to have this for a hinge on each side of the hood. You know, and it cut weight off the truck. I was only able to cut out the inner fenders, part of the bigger part of the fender that hangs down, and get rid of the hinge just by doing this. You'll see that little bit there of a slot. It's not going to hurt anything to me. You know, I'm not building a show truck, I'm building a drag truck. It won't be probably even noticeable unless you know what you're looking for. Well, I better get the wire brushing this and get it done. Sorry I didn't put a video for a little bit. It's hard to find interesting things to talk to you guys about when it comes to body work on these. I mean, it's work. You just try to get it done. Try to do it your best to your ability. I'm fortunate that I got good doors. There's a dent there I got to fix, but right here I got to fix, but and I got to weld up some trim holes. And if you got one of these trucks, you'll have a dent that you really got to watch. That's any car, any old car. People had a bad habit. They got their hands full of stuff. They open the door up, and then they kick the door closed. Kick the door closed at the end of the day when they're getting out of the truck. And what you end up with, especially in these trucks, is right here. You will end up with a dent right in there somewhere. And this one's got it. And I got to fill, there's some dings here, here, right in here. They're all in that same area from the same reason. You know, people bumping it, kicking it shut. And you got to pay attention to them. They're going to be an issue. Like I said, I'm pretty lucky on this truck. It has really good solid rocker panels on this side. Cab corners are real solid. The window lips aren't rusted on the front or the back. The doors are good and solid. The bottom of them are even solid, which is a plus. The only rust spot that I have to fix in this truck is in this rocker on the right side. It's right there. And I will cut out and weld in a patch there. This was actually a pretty low mileage truck. I was told the old man had it before me. It was an 80,000 mile truck. It's what it had on the speedometer. And I'm gonna get some work done. I gotta get this thing wire brushed out. Try to get it seam sealed today, so I can, you know, get the roof and this outside of this door and primer, get on that door, get the back of the cab done. Now I can get inside and sand everything, get it ready for a coat of paint, because we're painting the inside. That's the thing. I was going to keep the original interior, you know, the headliner and the trim, but the headliner, when we got it out, well, it ain't stuck down anymore, and I'm not buying a new headliner for it. What I will do is we'll weld up all the trim holes and body work the inside. I love the old metal roofs. I love the all metal inside of a truck, these old trucks, and paint it. Same color for painting the outside. I had to order another gallon of paint, but that's fine. That's what it takes to, you know, make it look like I want to. That's what it takes. I'm going to get to work on getting this ground out. And then we'll spray it with rust inhibitor. From what I've used it, I've had real good luck with the 3M rust inhibitor. You know, nothing's really good, continued to grow on the rust unless it grows from the backside, which there's not much I can do about that on something like this. I sure ain't gonna sandblast, and I ain't gonna take the cab apart. I'm gonna take split the sheet metal on it just to get the rust out. You know, this isn't a high-end build. This is my old drag truck. Let me get to picking some of this stuff out, and then I'll spray it with some of the rust inhibitor. Then we'll seam seal it. All right, now I'm gonna run this pick. Get the stuff. Get the grooves out. On both sides, and we're up here. All right, well, now that we got that cleaned up as good as it's gonna clean up, we'll spray some, blow it off here in a second. Spray some the rust inhibitor on it. And then we're gonna seam seal it. You're not gonna get all the rust out of these spots on these trucks. You're just not. You know, not to be the bearer of bad news, it's just not gonna happen. You know. Wish we could say, I could say we would, you could, but not without sandblasting, and then you're still not gonna get it for where it got it up here over the years. So I said, when you're looking for one of these trucks, that's one of the first things you want to do. If it ain't got a headliner in it, which a lot of them do and you can't tell, look at this roof. You look up in this roof, tap on it, make sure that there ain't no weak spots or any holes. Wish I had one here to show you that was rusted, but every one of them I've ever had that was rusted, I got rid of. You know, wasn't no point in keeping them. All right, well, let me blow this off and then we're gonna spray it. All right, now that this is dried up, we'll seam seal it. All right, there you go, guys. Roof's been re-seam sealed. It'll dry. I'll do a little cleanup on it, and then we'll start doing body work on the roof. Still gotta work on the doors. Like and subscribe. Lowry's Garage here on YouTube. Lowry's Garage on Facebook. And Lowry's Garage 67 on Instagram. All right, guys. Have a good night. Catch you later.